Welcome. It's a dumper. We're doing a 2-minute drill. I'm going to react to some videos. Let's get to it.
Excuse me, guys. I have to confess something.
What?
I fell in love with your friend right here.
Hey, good luck. Better luck next
Good
time.
luck. What's your name?
Buddy.
You're lying. Do you have a boyfriend?
No.
I can see why.
Hey, yeah, fuck off.
Excuse me. I have a question. I think you're beautiful.
Thank you.
What's your name?
I'm sorry. That was just not that
Okay. Have a good one. Excuse me. I think the green dress suits you. Yo, relax. Wait, this girl's... We can see why.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
I think you're very beautiful.
You're very beautiful.
Thank you. What's your name?
Charlie, what's yours?
Daniel. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
We're
you.
kind of matching.
Are we?
Kind of, no?
See, we've been having a discourse. You know, the discourse is going to be long over by the time I post this. But, you know, the guy on the screen has been saying, you know, you guys are accountable for all the men, as far as black men, who can't take rejection and lash out at women, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, black women rallied around it. And then you got a bunch of simp dudes rallying around it. You know, that's a big narrative. And I get it. This video is a white video. Most of the people, if not all the people, are white. But before we get to that, on the other end of, you know, oh, dudes can't take rejection and they be lashing out. The other narrative that's popular right now is, why don't men approach anymore? What's going on with men? You know, pregnancy rates are down, all this shit, right? Nobody wants to talk about how rude a lot of women are when it comes to men approaching women. A lot of women don't want to talk about, or a lot of people don't want to talk about how a lot of women are just flat out unapproachable. A lot of women are flat out unapproachable. Nobody wants to talk about how hard it is to actually approach women in person. Nobody wants to talk about how it's to the point where a lot of dudes just feel like it's not even worth it to risk going through that shit right there that we just watched. Nobody wants to talk about how unnecessarily rude women are. And this is the thing, when you do go to talk about it, niggas say, shut your bitch ass up, you complaining, man up, man ain't supposed to complain, blah, 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 feminine, sassy. So listen, these problems are not only going to persist, they're going to get worse. Because we can talk about all the things that need to change, but the one thing that should be there, women should be decent human beings to the point where they're not being unnecessarily rude to a guy that's trying to approach them. Especially, shouldn't be jealous and shutting down your friends getting approached. Misery loves company.
I never want my son to bring a white girl home.
There you go.
If she can't use a comb, don't bring her home. Period. That's it. That's it.
And that's when Mary had a little lamb.
Lonnie, you feel the same way?
But as far as I don't have a son yet. I don't have no kids yet. But
you will.
Bringing a white woman home?
Yeah.
I personally wouldn't want that. But if he did, that's it. Like she said, everybody got a preference. I'm not going to gear my kids towards what I want them to do or not do.
Why not?
It's their life. Like, I don't like parents who try to raise kids how they wish they did their life or how they want their kids to be. Like, they need to make their own choices. Of course, you got to guide them and teach them certain things, but something like that, their preference is their preference. I'm not going to try to change them. I feel like that's kind of like on the situation of if you find out your son was gay and you had an issue with it. So I feel like it's one and the same for real. So
Interesting.
Either you're going to support your kid or you're not going to support your kid.
Right.
You can always give them advice. If they take it or not, you still got to love them the same.
Love them the same. All right.
See, I don't have kids, so it's possible that I don't truly understand. But the thing that I just can't understand for the life of me is why people have a racial preference for their kids. This is the thing. If you are super Hotep 5000, right? If you are number one on the Dr. Umar fan club list and you go to all his seminars and stuff like that, you got the dashikis, sage is constantly burning at your crib and all of that shit, I could understand you not wanting your kids at all to be with white people or whatever the case may be. And I understand it from a standpoint of, wanting your son or your daughter to be safe and stuff like that because you know the risks and things like. It's not coming from that place when these people, as far as white men don't want their daughters with black guys or anything like that, or white women don't want their sons with white women. It's not coming from a place of I'm trying to protect you or these guys are dangerous or anything like that. It's coming from a place of jealousy and hatred. I could get into all the dynamics and things like that, but you see the two demographics and the two sets of ways that I mentioned. You see the two ways that I mentioned. It's always black man or black boy, white girl. It's those dynamics. The white dad or even the white family has a problem with the white girl being with somebody black. They don't have a problem with the white son getting a black girlfriend. They don't care. They don't care. And when it comes to the black daughter getting a white man, they don't care either, because when you look at society, you see the same sentiments mirrored by these demographics when they see couples that have nothing to do with them. Let's talk about the weird behavior real quick. You got white dudes who say stuff like, burn the coal, pay the toll. So if a white chick has kids with a black man, and something happens with the dad, he goes to jail or he turns up absent, they try to troll the white women for being in that situation. And when you have a black man dating a white woman, you already know the black women go crazy over that shit as far as any celebrity. It could be somebody like Donald Glover that they don't even find remotely attractive. They get upset. But this is the bigger one. A black man will die that was dating a white girl. And they will go and look up his tweets to try and find a reason to hate them. They go and try and search for anti-black tweets of a dead man that they didn't care about yesterday. Guess who doesn't do any of that weird shit? Black men don't have that big of a stock to where we begin to do weird shit when we see a black woman with a white man. And white women aren't all over the internet going crazy about white men getting with black women. So as far as the chick who had the sentiment, I could understand if it was coming from a genuine place, but it's not.
Why do men get labeled deadbeats for not being in their kid's life, but women rarely get called out for paternity fraud or keeping kids from their fathers? What's your logic on that, if you had to speak on that?
One thing is they shield each other when they wrong. Mm-hmm. They never check that shit. That's why it's okay, but they don't think, man, your son gonna face these same demons we face. Like, they do shit to us and they can get away with anything. Shit, you shitting me. How the fuck you supposed to love her? How you supposed to trust her? She can do anything to you and get away with it. We can't do any. It's only, I was talking to my boy Tall Boy one time. We was talking, it was like, the only reason why niggas ain't really like broke y'all jaws and shit like that is because the law that say we can't. If it wasn't no law, you think niggas wouldn't be kicking their foot up y'all ass whenever they want? Yes, they would. If it wasn't no law. Yeah.
If it wasn't no law, niggas would be punching on their girls.
Men have testosterone. That's triggering. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be bucking and jumping in his face.
I don't find much value in the last point that he made, but my stance on it is basically all over the channel. If you watch any of my Protect Black Women videos, I just did a video about chicks heightening a situation, having a conflict with a man and calling their brother, their dad, or some other type of enforcer that they know to carry out, the physical violence against a man. And a short way to address that is that women will engage in a conflict and escalate it and do so many things and say so many things, and even sometimes make it physical, trying to rely on the social contract that men are not supposed to hit women. That is where their bravery comes from. And that's how come it really tickles me when we'll be hearing like, oh man, y'all don't protect black women, da-da-da-da-da. If I was there, I would have stepped in. Anytime I see a guy doing something, I step in. You step in because he's not going to knock your fucking, you expect him to not knock your head off your shoulders. Dudes know nothing is keeping their head from getting knocked off their shoulders, but I spend too much time on that. I just got done doing a video about a chick who put a man in jail over false allegations and things like that. And ABC, they covered it and they made her look like a victim, even though the only victim was the man that she did the false allegation on. And the reason that they did that is because Women don't like seeing other women held accountable. They don't like holding other women accountable. They do not like seeing a chick lose in any situation. And they love to see chicks win. And they identify with victims. And this is how sinister it is. When you have the very few women who actually do speak up about crazy things that should be universally morally agreed upon, and they hold the women that's wrong accountable, most women begin to attack that woman, calling her a pick-me and all other types of shit. That's how much they hate accountability.
As someone's girlfriend, I'm not sitting around while you depressed. Figure it out. But as a wife, that is my responsibility to help. That's my due diligence. That's my duty.
Gotcha.
So fellas, if you got a girlfriend, if you got a babe, it is not your obligation to protect her, provide for her, to lead her, to make decisions. It's just not your obligation. It is not your obligation to let her move in and pay the bills. It's not your obligation. But for your wife, that's what you do. It's not your obligation if you have a girlfriend to pay for any dates, to, buy her any gifts, to on any holiday, like, her birthday, Valentine's Day, anything. That's just reserved for a wife. It's just so funny to me. It'd be like some of the most basic of basic shit. It's like y'all already giving the pussy up, man. Y'all already giving the pussy up. Y'all are already giving the most important chess piece that you have on the board up to the nigga already. Why are y'all holding little things like support back in relationships like it's a subscription model? Like a nigga gotta buy a higher tier just for you to give a fuck about his feelings. This is the truth. Whoever she is before you get married is who she's gonna be after you get married. Because the thing is, a ring is not gonna make a bitch love you more than she already do. It's just not. If she didn't give a fuck about your feelings before, she's not gonna give a fuck about your feelings after you get a ring. It's one of the most preposterous talking points the women throw out there, like, oh no, I reserved that for my husband, but you reserved the coochie for everybody, anybody you like. This shit don't make sense. But that's it for today, man. Let me know your thoughts. I got a couple more videos rolling for you. I'll catch y'all, man.
I used to say silly things like, where are all the good men at? Until I started taking accountability. Now I know I'm just an ain't shit ass bitch. Maybe I am the problem. Maybe I am the problem. Maybe I am the problem.
A lot of y'all don't understand how Cassie's husband could wife up Diddy's ex-toilet seat, but there are some advantages to being married to her. Let's talk about them. First off, if you're married to Cassie, you could potentially win every argument. You could be the first man to go undefeated. I'd be like, what? You're really going to get on to me for not having these kitchen counters wiped down? These counters are what disgusts you? That's where you draw the line? I figured you'd be used to everything around here being sticky. What's she gonna do, get an attitude with you? I'd drop her right back off at Diddy's house for a reboot. It'd be like taking your computer to the Geek Squad. You wouldn't even have to argue with this woman if she wanted to get an attitude. You could just start humming I'll Be Missing You. And finally, let me just say, if your girl is just a little too passionate about this Cassie situation, that is some red flags right there. If she's like, you don't understand how she feels. She was young. She didn't know any better. You better be like, man, how do you know how she feels? What were you doing in your 20s? If your wife refuses to judge Cassie, then she was Cassie. Follow for more like this.